My name doesn't really stay with people. Not because it's hard to remember, but because I rarely stay long enough for it to matter. In school files, I'm listed as student ID 0303, 14 years old, female, transferred. That word follows me everywhere. Transferred. It sounds clean, administrative, like something that fits neatly into a system. But nothing about it feels neat when you're the one living it. I've moved so many times that I stopped counting. At first, every move felt big, emotional, heavy. Now it just feels expected. Boxes appear, schedules change, goodbyes happen faster each time, and I learn, once again, how to fit my life into something temporary. Adults always say the same things. You'll get used to it. Kids adapt quickly. This will make you stronger. What they don't say is what adaptation costs. They don't talk about the way your mind never fully rests, the way your confidence resets every time you walk into a new building, the way you stop assuming anything will last. School is where this hits the hardest, because school is built on continuity. Teachers talk as if everyone arrived at the same time, learned the same lessons, followed the same path. But I didn't. Every time I change schools, I step into a story that's already in progress, and I'm expected to know the plot. In the previous unit, as you learned last year, you should remember this. Those sentences follow me like reminders of everything I missed, not because I wasn't paying attention, because I wasn't there. Each school teaches differently. Some rush, some repeat. Some explain things deeply. Some expect you to keep up. Some are ahead of where I was. Some are behind. And my brain is constantly trying to adjust, trying to connect pieces that were never meant to fit together. In class, I look calm, quiet, focused even, but inside, my thoughts never stop. Where are we? What chapter is this? Did I learn this already, or did I skip it without knowing? By the time I answer one question in my head, the lesson has moved forward. Teachers see this as distraction. They see a student who doesn't raise her hand, who stares at her notebook, who doesn't speak unless she's called on. They don't see the effort it takes just to stay present. I try to catch up. I really do. I copy notes carefully. I underline words I don't understand. I tell myself I'll figure it out later, but later fills up fast. Later becomes a place where all the missing pieces go. Tests are the worst part, not because I don't study, but because tests assume something I don't have, a shared academic past. They assume everyone learned the same things in the same order with the same foundation. I didn't. When I sit down with a test paper, my mind doesn't go blank. It becomes crowded. One question reminds me of a method from one school. Another question uses a concept I learned differently somewhere else. Nothing lines up. I freeze. After a while, panic turns into doubt. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe other students can move and still succeed because they're better than me. Maybe the problem isn't the situation. Maybe it's me. I stopped asking questions, not because I don't have them, because asking feels dangerous. If I ask, someone might realize how much I don't know. Silence feels safer. At lunch, I sit with people who are kind. They don't exclude me, but they have something I don't. History. They talk about teachers they've known for years, projects they did together, things that happened before I arrived. I listen, and I feel temporary. Every move takes something from you: confidence, stability, the belief that effort always leads somewhere. Just when you start feeling steady, everything changes again. One day, during a lesson I actually liked, something broke. The assignment required knowledge from earlier in the year. I didn't have it. Those lessons happened somewhere else. I tried to follow. I flipped through my notebook. Nothing helped. When the teacher came to my desk, they stopped, looked at my paper, then at me, and said, "You're not following. You need to focus more." It wasn't cruel, but it stayed with me, because it sounded like confirmation that I wasn't trying hard enough, that I was failing because of who I was. That night, I didn't cry. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about how tired my mind felt, how exhausting it is to always adjust. That's when I asked myself something new. What if I'm not falling behind because I'm weak? What if I'm falling behind because I've never been allowed to stay long enough to build anything? That thought didn't solve everything, but it changed how I looked at myself. I still struggle. I still drift during lessons, but I don't call myself lazy anymore. I know how much energy adaptation takes. I'm 14 years old, and I've learned how to say goodbye more times than I can count. I've learned how to restart. Those skills don't show up on report cards, but they matter. I don't know where I'll be next year. I don't know which school name will be written at the top of my notebook, but I know this. Struggling doesn't mean I stopped trying, and losing focus doesn't mean I don't care.
Students like her often go unnoticed. They don't disrupt lessons. They don't demand attention. They adapt quietly. And quiet adaptation is often mistaken for disengagement. From a psychological perspective, learning depends on cognitive continuity. New information builds on previously learned material. When that continuity is repeatedly interrupted, the brain shifts its priority. Instead of learning deeply, it focuses on adjusting. This is not a lack of intelligence. It is a natural response to instability. Frequent school changes place students in a constant state of orientation. They are always trying to understand expectations, systems, and context. This consumes cognitive resources. As a result, attention appears scattered, but in reality, it is divided. Over time, this division can affect academic self-efficacy. Students begin to doubt whether their effort will lead to success. They internalize situational difficulty as personal failure. This is especially impactful during early adolescence. At 14, identity and self-worth are closely tied to performance. Repeated disruption can weaken confidence quietly, without obvious warning signs. What these students need is not pressure. Pressure, without understanding, increases withdrawal. What helps is recognition, naming the experience. Explaining that difficulty focusing in unstable environments is expected, not shameful. When students feel understood, they can begin to separate circumstances from identity. They may not immediately improve academically, but they regain trust in themselves. Stability does not always mean staying in one place. Sometimes it means building an internal sense of continuity. Helping students do that can transform movement from a loss into part of their story. Struggling to focus is not a character flaw. It is often the mind's response to constant change.